Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I'm sometimes up, I'm sometimes down, coming for to carry me home. But still my soul feels a heavenly bound, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels are coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, rule with, and a great example to the young brothers in the truth, and peace and blessing to the hopeful elect, and Lord willing this edifying. And this ain't gonna be long. This a image of a UFO, a chariot, from 1990, if I ain't mistaken. And the story, I'm gonna put the story at the end of the Edomites going into the whole story of the picture of the people who took it, how it got repossessed from them and hid away, so to speak. And this is supposedly one of the clearest images they have of a UFO, and it's authentic. And the guy gonna go into how, it's authentic, and that plane behind it is a fighter jet that they scrambled after it. And he gonna go into all what happened. He say they scrambled the jets after it, and it just shot straight up in the air from that position. It just hovered right there, and then when the jets came scrambled after, it shot up. But these are the chariots of our salvation, man. Ain't no aliens and all that bullshit. No, those are the angels in these UFO, so-called UFOs, unidentified flying objects, or UAPs, unidentified area phenomenons. But we gonna go into a couple precepts, and we gonna put the backdrop, and then that's gonna be it. This the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 16 and verse 9. It reads, "For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to shew himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. And these chariots are seeing these sightings, and now they doing all kind of stuff now. The the evidence is overwhelming. And it's for the elect's sake. That's the Lord showing himself strong for them whose heart is perfect. The Lord willing, we have perfect hearts towards Yahweh Shem Yahweh. Herein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars. But the eyes of the Lord run to and fro, and the eyes of the Lord are the chariots, the so-called UFOs, UAPs. Those are the eyes of the Lord. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 31, and verse 1. It say, woe to them that run down to Egypt for help. And the modern day Egypt is America, Babylon the Great. And stay on horses and trust in chariots, because there are many. And the horses and the chariots of America are the cars, the all the way down to the airplanes. The Esau even have chariots, flying chariots, airplane, fighter jets, ships. Esau have all these things, and that's what it's going into. And trust in chariots, because they are many, and horsemen, because they are very strong. Yeah, Esau military things, they are strong if you're looking at it fleshly, if you're looking at it carnally. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Yeah, and that's going to be the downfall of the people of the world, of the Israelites. They not looking to Yahweh Shem Yahweh to deliver them or save them out of this time that's going to come upon the earth. But the elect of the nation of Israel is. And we hastening that day. We begging the Lord to come destroy this place tomorrow or today, or yesterday. Verse 2, it say, yet he also is wise and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians, which are the Egyptians are the Edomites. They are the modern day Egyptians. Now the Egyptians are men, so-called white people, and not God, and their horses are flesh and not spirit. See, the chariots of the Lord are spirit. They're not carnal. They're not flesh. But these horses, Esau power, his military, his tanks, his fighter jets, they all got to refuel. They can be destroyed, but the chariots can't. The chariots don't got to stop and get gas, man. They run off pure power, It say, when the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that hopeth shall fall down, and they shall fail together. Yeah, everybody who on Esau's side is gonna fall. 2/3 of our people will be destroyed. On this, the book of Zechariah, chapter 5 and verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. And I will bring it forth, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief. And who is the thief? Esau, Edom. America is stolen land with stolen people in it. The Lord is going to enter into the house of the thief. What the Lord say, he going to invade him with his troops. And into the house of him that swear falsely by my namesake, and I shall remain in the midst of his house. and shall consume it with the timber thereof and with the stones thereof. Let me get this real quick. And this the curse. This why it's gonna be a curse. Because this what the Lord coming back to do with those so-called UFOs. Let's go to that real quick. This the book of, I think. Book of Isaiah. This the book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and verse 15. It reads, For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. And the Lord is coming back to plead with the earth through killing. He's not going to be talking. The talking going on through his men right now. When the Lord returns, he's going to do a lot of killing. The slain of the Lord going to be from one end of the earth even unto the other. And that's the curse that goeth forth above the face of the whole earth. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to end it. Giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Rule Web, and the great example to the younger brothers in the truth. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect. Shalom.
Let's talk some UFOs. Now, I think one of the reasons we even started this show, or one of the reasons I started this show, a lot of the documents that we were featuring here on the show had redacted information, right? They had information that the government was keeping from its people. And now we know that the government has been slowly releasing information about downed craft. We've heard from Luis Elizondo and others, of course, talking about off-world vehicle materials that they have been recovered. There's been a number of members of the military and members of the government who've come forward and talked about working on reverse engineering programs within the government, working on these craft. I've personally talked to sources who are high levels of the military, generals, members of the presidents of the United States, and governors and senators. So these stories are really, really fascinating to me and important, and I think we want to cover them here. So this incident was known as the Calvine incident. It was one of the most, we're not going to show any pictures yet. It was one of the most astonishing UFO sightings in history. It took place in the Scottish Highlands, one of my favorite places in the world, the Scottish Highlands. Beautiful, beautiful territory. It happened in 1990. Two gentlemen were out hiking. There were a bunch of eyewitnesses to this. There was the Royal Air Force, in fact, sent jets after this thing, which you'll see in a second. This was confirmed by the military, and some of the most amazing photos were taken of this event by these two hikers. But then the photos went missing. Now, why did they go missing? Well, the two men were out hiking in Calvine in Scotland. They saw this massive UFO hanging up in the sky above their heads. It was silent. It was motionless. And the men then managed to take 6 photographs of it before the object then suddenly accelerated straight up, and away at immense speed and vertically. They also sent out an account of their encounter with the original negatives of the photo. They sent it to the Daily Record, which was a major Scottish newspaper. When the journalist in charge of the story contacted the Ministry of Defense for comment, they were asked to send the negatives to the Ministry of Defense. The Ministry of Defense asked the newspaper send the negatives of these photos to us for analyzation. The reporter did, like a good government lackey, sent the negatives off to the Ministry of Defense in England, and did not think to make copies or some prints of the negatives. Idiot. And for unknown reasons, then the Daily Record did not run the story. So imagine these guys took these amazing photos, took it to a newspaper thinking that they're going to print the story, and then they not only don't they print the story, they send his negatives off to the Ministry of Defense, and now the guys are like, what the hell? Sabotage. So I have an idea why the story never made it in the newspapers, of course, because the government told them not to run the story. and they didn't want the story in the newspapers. So those who were briefed on the UFO weren't allowed to take any photos with them. They could only draw. So they actually went and actually got to see the photos at the Ministry of Defense. In fact, Nick Pope, who was worked in the Ministry of Defense, got to see these photos at the time, but you weren't allowed to leave the room. So the only thing that you were allowed to do was, like, you could draw them. So when people were like recounting the story later, they could draw the photos. So here's one of the drawings. So just put up this drawing on the screen. This is what somebody drew of what they thought the photo looked like in their memory, right? Okay. I know, like, this is what we got, right? So this giant UFO in the screen, this was the drawing. This was a hand drawn after they saw the photos. And then there's an aircraft. There's a Royal Air Force aircraft, right?
Is there a reason they chose pointillism as the style?
Well, it's now printed. It's like on Xerox copied many, many times. Well, the photos actually finally were just found and they were recovered. And Whitley Strieber reported this. So here is the original Calvine UFO photo. There was 6 of them. Here's one of the 6. I'll show you another one in a second. But take a look at this one.
So it turns out that drawing was pretty stinking good.
Yeah, it was like that's what they remembered. That look at that that's a Royal Air Force jet trailing this thing before this massive UFO just shoots off straight up into the sky. Okay. Then here's another photo. This is even better. You can see the Scottish Highlands. Look at that.
That is amazing.
That is amazing. This is considered, guys, the most, the cleanest, crispest, best UFO photo ever taken. Ever taken. And it was missing. No, don't put me back on camera. That was missing for that since 1990. Since 1990. This thing is amazing.
That is pretty amazing. I can't stop staring at it. How long did you spend staring at it?
I've been staring at it all day. I've been staring at it all day.
It kind of looks like a Zeppelin kind of thing.
Yeah, it does. It does. And they said it just hung there motionless and then shot up straight in the air. And now the reporters contacted, the military and they to confirm, it's actually the newspaper. Yeah, the newspaper confirmed it, that there were no Harrier jets. The only type of man-made aircraft at the time were those Harrier jets that like would lift off and then they would, they don't have no Harriers, and no Harriers could move that fast. There were no Harriers anywhere near this area at the time. Anyway, it's the Calvine UFO incident. Am I saying that right to our Scottish viewers? Calvine, it's Calvine. Maybe it's
I think that might be Calvine.
Calvine. You're pronunciating great tonight. Calvine. The Calvine incident. Let me know. Yeah, the Scottish Highlands, one of my favorite areas. So love this story. I would love to have Nick Pope on the show, who worked at the Ministry of Defense for the British government. And the stuff that he has seen and confirmed is utterly fascinating. So it's amazing that all we had on this incident for so many years were these drawings, and now we get to see the original photos again. So pretty darn cool. Love to hear your thoughts on this in the chat below. And thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of our show. Jesse Kirby says, these are Photoshop, guys. Come on. No, they weren't. These are photos. These are film negatives from the 1990s. The Photoshop didn't exist then. So, yes, it was analyzed. They've all been analyzed.